Hi, it's Jason from drpremed.com, and I want to talk to you a little bit about my background, a little bit about my story, because people look at me, they're like, oh, he's a fourth year medical student. He went to Northwestern for undergrad. He did his pre-med coursework at Harvard. His situation's totally different from mine. I can't relate to what Jason's telling me, what I need to do to make sure I'm a competitive applicant for medical school. But I want to be upfront and honest with you and tell you that's not how it always was for me. Making the adjustment coming to Northwestern from a public high school where a lot of kids didn't even go to a lot of colleges or anything was huge for me. And I just know that I just got academically beat up freshman year at Northwestern in my pre-med classes, especially with general chemistry. I don't want to talk too much about this, but some of the people at Northwestern, they went to the same high schools that presidents' kids went to, celebrities, all of that stuff. Their parents were physicians, doctors, engineers, all of that stuff, lawyers, and everything like that. I'm just, okay, I'm just a kid coming from public school, trying to make it as a pre-med, trying to be a doctor, and everything like that. And so, yeah, had tutoring that I went to office hours, studied with my classmates, and it was just an uphill battle. But the one thing I knew is that I could not give up in this process of becoming a doctor. I know some people decide, oh, I'm going to just take a quarter off and not worry about it. I'll decide if I want to come back to being pre-med or not. And unfortunately, what happened for a good number of those classmates who did that, they're no longer they were no longer pre-med and they are now doing things totally outside of medicine, not related to it at all, finance, other sectors, law, everything like that. And so I knew that I definitely was focused on being a physician. That's what I wanted to do. So I couldn't give up, but it was just a brutal experience. I made it through all my classes, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be standing here right now, but it was not easy. And I know with me for the GPA, it wasn't 4.0, not even close to that. I shouldn't even laugh about that, but that's what it was coming out of Northwestern. Wasn't that way at all. And so I knew for me, the thing that was going to make or break my chances of getting into medical school actually came down to the MCAT. And I was the president of Pre-Med Society. And so one of the perks of being the president of Pre-Med Society was that I had a commercial MCAT prep course that was free to me for all the work that I was doing with the pre-meds and everything like that. And so I enrolled in this. It was actually a classroom course. Now a lot of them are online. So that tells you how much things have changed or whatever. And so I did that. did watched the video at home, did all the problem sets, everything like that, and it was extremely frustrating because it seemed like no matter how much I studied, how much effort and time I put into my academics for the MCAT, my scores were not improving. I'm telling you, I was not competitive at all. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. I'm going to have to start thinking of plan B. This isn't working out. I want to be a doctor. I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't get in. And my mentors are telling me, Jason, you have to do well in the MCAT. This is a test you want to take once and only once. And I was so frustrated with that experience. I would be in that library all day, 7 days a week. I was in the library studying for the MCAT and not seeing results at all. And as the weeks went by, I'm just like, okay, this is not good. I need to figure something out. My test stage is approaching. Things just aren't working for me. And it was very depressing, demoralizing experience and all of that. And something had to change. So one day I decided, okay, something has to be different. And got in touch with one of the pastors at my church because I go to church all the time. They prayed for me and all of that, and they also put me in touch with another physician. This physician actually took a look at what I was doing. He wanted to speak with me, and he's like, Jason, your approach has to totally change. That what you're doing right now is not going to work for you. I know your MCAT's coming up, but you need to postpone your exam. I'm going to work with you to make sure you're where you need to be on your MCAT, and so you can get the score that you need. And so I'm like, I really want want to take this MCAT. Everybody's like, no, you can't postpone it. The early bird gets the worm. You want to apply early. And that's everything that was going through my head. But I said, you know what? At this point where I'm at in the process, I have to take this advice because I have everything to lose if I don't do well in the MCAT, and I wanted to be a doctor no matter what. So I took the physician's advice, totally reworked my studying approach, how I was doing problems, how I was reviewing problems, had a system in place, and felt better about things. I didn't feel like 100% like I was going to go hit a home run or grand slam on the MCAT, but I was at least comfortable with where I stood that I was going to do well on it. And so then I got in there and I took the MCAT and I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I did a couple questions and there were ones I studied or like, oh, there's a trick, and I just saw the trick and outsmarted the test writer. So I was feeling really, really good about that. And to make a long story short, there's a couple of weeks after you take the MCAT where you just are in limbo waiting for your scores to come back. I was a nervous wreck. I just didn't know what to expect, didn't know what was going to happen on that process, and my heart was beating out of my chest. I was sweating profusely when I got that email saying that the MCAT scores had posted. And so I logged into the computer, took a look at the scores, and I was on cloud nine. I scored in a way that I've never scored on any of my pre-med classes, on any of my practice MCATs, but when it counted, I got the score that I needed, and I was ecstatic, and that was one of the greatest moments that I've ever had in my life. And so as a pre-med, so that was just terrific. And that's a little bit about my story. And now I'm a fourth year medical student. And so I did the right things that you need to do to get into medical school. But I just had this transformation from being that underqualified student who had a lot on the line, who really felt that he should be in medical school. I was working really hard, and one of the reasons why I wanted to be a doctor in the first place is a little personal. When I was 8 years old, we got a telephone call from my grandpa informing us that grandma was being rushed to the hospital what would ultimately be a brain aneurysm. And so that totally changed the dynamics of our household, where no longer trips to Michigan to visit the zoos, parks, and all that good fun stuff. It was hospitals and nursing homes. So that's one of my motivations for why I'm in medicine, why I have this drive, and why I'm so passionate about medicine overall, and also reaching out and helping others so they can get into medical school as well. Because I know people have all these backgrounds, all these stories of why they want to go into medicine, and it's not just, oh, I have a parent who's a physician and I want to do it, or I think the compensation's well, and all of that. People have some really personal stories. I'll share more about my background and more things with you, but I just want you to know that wherever you are right now, keep working, keep striving. If things aren't working, you need to reverse tactics, try something else, but you can definitely make it in medical school if you want to be a doctor. It's all about your why, what's your motivating factor, and just keep doing what you can do. And this is Jason from drpremed.com. This is a little bit about my story, why I do what I do, and I'm looking forward to working with you and helping you become a medical student and ultimately a physician, because there's so many things that I can help you out for academics, extracurriculars. What else do people ask me about? Post-bac programs, if you know that you didn't do totally hot starting out as a pre-med student in college and everything like that. Letters of recommendation, secondaries, all that good stuff. My goal is that I like to work backwards with students. I think about the big picture and what it actually takes to get into medical school. And so we work backwards to make sure that you're doing everything possible to get in. So it's not like, oh, a couple months out, like, oh, nobody told me I needed to do that. How am I going to get that done? I'm running out of time. That's not going to happen here at drpremed.com, because I'm going to expose you to what I call my pre-med dream team. These are not just, oh, this is what worked for me to get in medical school. These are physicians, these are doctors, these are adcoms, these are post-bac professors, college graduate professors, medical students, my other colleagues in medicine. So you're not going to be led astray. I just wanted to share a little bit about that with you. And this is Jason from drpremed.com signing off, and make sure you visit the website.